Okay.
We'll be improvising most probably as the show cover goes on at these flex points, looking for ways of stitching patterns and backings to hold this stable that allows the eye to not see through into the steel mechanism. Keeps dirt and debris out, but does not bind the joint as it moves. And I think that that's oh, there's one other thing. Let's focus first on this board, because everything is covered up. The springs were lashed to the board using a hand-driven staple. They're fairly long. They're about a ½ inch long, and they're driven in with a hammer. Actually, it's I don't know what to call it. It's a it's a hammer gun. We'll take a look at that in one of the other segments. And it is driven in. There's a piece of canvas beneath it to protect the board from flex with the spring against it. And then there's another piece of canvas that is doubled over and slipped.
I can't see that.
You'll see it in the field in just a moment. Doubled over and slipped. It's a soft, thick 17-ounce canvas that's slipped in between. Let's see if I can get it through here where you can actually see this happen. So my fingers become very strong and flexible when you do upholstery. It's pulled through and it's tacked to the board. In this case, we'll be using an air stapler to staple it down rather than the possibility of causing damage to the structural board by hammering onto it. But we will staple on either side.
And what does that do?
And what it does is that as the spring flexes, it keeps the metal from hitting the steel from hitting the bottom and making a plopping or a grinding sound.
So is this similar to what I've seen with cotton in the Eastlake cone, for instance?
Some upholsterers choose to stick cotton batting underneath. I've also done that from time to time. But I didn't want to use cotton batting because this is a mattress and there's a great deal of dust that filters its way through over a period of a century. This particular piece will last a century, the buildup. And so when you look at the original photographs where there was a ton of buildup of dust, I did not want to add to that thickness by sticking cotton batting in it. And eventually it would just kind of build up and create this platform and not allow the springs to flex.
Okay.
In addition, string headers have been anchored, running a course across the top of the springs in order to prevent the burlap scrim that's going to be going over, upholstering over the top of the springs, from creating troughs and allowing stuffing to drop down into gullies. And so that will keep a reliable surface for that burlap scrim.
Okay, go.
As I'd mentioned earlier, that the designers of this piece probably did not consult a master upholsterer prior to making their design, and they simply asked the upholsterer to work around whatever limitations they had created in the frame. With this type of restoration, there is a great deal that is unknown until you actually get to the point of having to upholster. And so we did find a way to anchor these lines, these vertical lines, to a structural header. This header was not in the piece initially, and so we simply created one, glued it in, and put screws into the superstructure.